Why do people automatically assume every single age gap relationship is bad? The older both partners are, the less concerning the age gap is. At younger ages, the gap between peer groups is more problematic because of emotional, physical growth and learning, those sort of things. Grooming obviously becomes a concern at the younger end of the spectrum. Dude, you asked this exact same question on this same subreddit like 8 days ago. Why are you asking it again? People's responses are almost identical to the responses you got the first time. I know. Just last week I was harassed in a restaurant over this. I'm a 30M and my girlfriend is 22F. We were pretty upset considering we were out celebrating our 10-year anniversary. GIF. When I was 29, I dated a 45-year-old for 3 years. Best move ever for so many reasons. We broke up, like any relationship might. Then, months later, she conspired with my weed dealer to have me killed. It was a weird time. They can be okay, but many aren't. So based in that, people tend to automatically just see them as bad. I think the exception is when the couple meet in a neutral environment and happen to fall for each other over a period of time, such as coworkers. 100% better if all the previous relationships the older person had were with people their own age. Signifies that dating young is about the person and not a pattern. It can't be denied that there's something creepy when someone always goes after younger people. When they set dating age ranges that low because they're actively looking to date young, it's almost always for creepy, predatory, and exploitive reasoning. Age gap relationships are called out because of the risks most have. It is important for the younger person to be aware of these issues and given support. The experience gaps are just too much. 30 plus is when age gaps lose the majority of risk and become safer for the younger person. 30 and 55, for example, whereas 20 and 55 just holds way more risk. I dated a girl 16 years younger than me. She pursued me for nearly a year before I relented. The older person is not always a predator. People on Reddit are oddly fixated with age gap. No idea why. Every relationship has some level on power dynamics where one partner is at a disadvantage. Be it financially, professionally, emotionally, educationally, etc. Age gap can be an issue. But barring downright illegal scenarios, people should just learn to mind their own business a lot more. A 10 years gap can be challenging. Will likely get worse past a certain age. But it's not necessarily predatory or sinister. It's silly and a bit demeaning to posit that each and every 20-something dating someone older is a powerless victim with no agency. Usually symptom of a greater issue. Statistically, those relationships fail. People at different ages are dealing with very different life expectations. Young people are getting started in their careers, considering having kids, and old people are trying to figure out retirement, deal with health issues, and are working on getting kids out of the house, etc. If somehow two people in these stages are compatible, there's probably something else going on, or there are likely obvious incompatibilities that are being overlooked. The only difference between an age gap involving a teen and an age gap involving a young adult is one has legal agency over themselves for the most part. You don't magically mature at 25. I know plenty of young ignorant people and old ignorant people. I think people get heat for it because everyone knows they don't work out most of the time. And even when they do, there are going to be compromises made that wouldn't have to happen in a smaller age gap. TLDR. If you choose to get yourself into a situation that statistically won't work out, people might think you are ignorant or foolish. In my personal experience, people really like to make up rules. usually independent of whether or not the rules improve anything or not. An age gap can be a worrying sign in a relationship, but it's just that, a sign, not a certainty. There are lots of other red flags out there too. But it's just one more data point. Each relationship is fundamentally a unique thing, as are the people in it, and every situation is going to be its own thing. Some people have a hard time understanding that and want the world to actually make sense. People make assumptions out of what I think is genuine concern without knowing all the details. Sometimes sketchy stuff really is going on. And sometimes two people of different ages are able to find real and lasting love just like anyone else. I was 32 when I started dating a man who was 20. Anyone who knew only our ages might have thought I was abusing the power dynamic. But I was the one who was skeptical about our age difference, and he was the one doing the pursuing. We've been happily married for 20 years. My younger sister threw my entire family into turmoil when she started dating a man 30 years older. She was automatically a gold digger, and he was automatically creepy. In reality, they earned the same amount of money and were genuinely crazy about each other. Still are. They've been happily married for many years now. And anyone who thinks the older husband has the upper hand in that relationship has never met my sister. Depending on the size of the gap and at what age. Sometimes, age is not the issue, but emotional maturity. People of different age ranges can connect and be in healthy relationships depending on willingness to understand each other and make compromises to meet each other's needs. There's nuance that is lost in this discussion. For sure, I have no problem with age gap relationships as long as both parties are consenting adults. In my mind, it's only problematic if the parties knew each other closely before one person was a full adult. Dating someone 20 years older than you, when they've known you since you were a child, for example, even then, I tend to be on the side of, it's none of your business. They're both adults now. You don't have to like it or even agree with it, but let people live their lives. I also might be biased, as I tend to gravitate towards people who are 10+ years older than me. And these relationships have been the most fulfilling and exciting to me. I'm in my early 30s. Because they are. Every single day, help my 21F boyfriend, 45 meters, doesn't respect me. Quote, it's draining. Projection of personal experience. Also, I believe a lot of age gap relationships and super young people. 1625. Looking for older partners or coming from a place of financial need or have the desire to date, have sex with older people due to trauma, and while it may feel good to have that desire met, in the end they often end up never truly healing from that trauma, or the relationship makes it worse. Age gaps can be problematic for people under 3035 years old. During those years we are learning a lot of life lessons, and the age difference can seem daunting. If both people are mature and focused on building a life together, it's a non-issue. After 3,540 years old, an age gap of 10-ish years isn't that big of a problem. It is more of a typical dating concern. Is this person gonna be able to relate to my issues? Can we vibe together? ECT. I don't hear anyone complaining about someone in their 30s dating someone in their 50s. I think the concern is an overlap between when the relationship began, when they knew each other, and the age of consent then. Basically, grooming is assumed. Also, there's some sexism. If a guy dates someone much younger, he's always blamed for taking advantage. Even if he's 35 and she's 25, the man must be doing something wrong. My parents are 10 years apart. I feel that when you are a fully grown adult, like 25, You can really date or marry any age. Except 18 and under. TBH, if a 25-year-old and an 80-year-old dated, I would be a little weirded out, but there is a difference between a 50-year-old dating a 35-year-old and a 21-year-old dating a 39-year-old. 21 hasn't been an adult very long, so they haven't had enough life experience of an adult, so they are easily exploited and vulnerable to control and abuse, and older men go after young women under 25 because they are easy to control and manipulate. They are not going to go after 30-year-old women because they know the 30-year-old would see the red flags and not let them control them and manipulate, so they go after much younger age. But lot of people are not going to bat an eye if a 40-something-year-old is dating a 60-something-year-old. I think it's fair to be judgmental about someone who consistently dates people much younger than them. I do think it says something about the person. Sure, it's a preference, but it's one that has implications. I think any relationship, well, not any relationship, but most relationships can be healthy, organic, just a case of two people who happen to click. But there's also often a power imbalance, as well as an obvious imbalance in life experience. Those can be concerning. It doesn't mean they always are, but realistically they often are.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.